everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Football Fignuts podcast. This is Season 3, Episode 18, and if you're counting all of them, it's 118. I'm Craig.
My name is Britt.
And Britt, we're back again.
Yes, after a good week.
After a good week and past mid-season.
Yes.
Yeah,
we're in the home stretch now for the fantasy season. At this point, if you're in your season longs, if you are not in a position to qualify for the playoffs, which means you're probably looking at 2-7 or 3-6 or worse, you're probably shifting your focus to DFS. So we're here to help you with that as well. If you're looking at a good number like 7-2, well, then you're shaping up your roster to make that fantasy run. And I'll toss this out right now. Take a look at the Steelers' remaining schedule.
Shall I?
Yeah, and we don't even have to. I mean, they play the Rams this week, but I think the Rams and then maybe one more team over 500 the rest of the way. They get the Browns twice. They have the Bengals. It's just so if you've been streaming defenses and the Steelers are floating out there, I would grab and stash them for 1 week because you can probably ride them all the way to a fantasy championship after the Rams are done with them. I think it's the Rams. Is the Rams this week? Why do I think it's the Rams?
It's this week or next week?
It's let's see. Yep, Steelers Rams, and that game's in Pittsburgh. So it's still not a terrible use, but so there you go. If you're looking, this is around the time where you're looking. Trade deadlines are coming. You're looking at the waiver wire, and you're saying, who can I stash and hold on to? Who's going to make my life easier down the road? The Steelers look like a no-brainer defense for me the last 5 or 6 weeks of the year. So go get them. But let's get to the beer. What are you drinking tonight?
I am drinking. It's a can you brought me last week.
Oh, is it one of the specialties from Massachusetts?
Actually, no. It's the specialty from Two Roads.
What is
that?
that? Oh,
the Con Artist Winter Art Can.
Ah, yes. That's an IPA that they did in honor of a contest they used. They call it Con Artist, and they spell CONN like short for Connecticut. And it's to highlight a local artist, and they put it on a can, and they brew a special beer for it. So you haven't tried this one yet?
I have not. I'm going to open it right now.
Okay, yep. There's the sign. And while he's drinking, I'll let you know I am drinking a Holiday Ale. Shock of all shocks. Holiday Ale is out, so get ready to hear about it a lot between now and the end of the season.
And you're okay with this year's Holiday Ale? You're all right?
It's different. It is different. I will not lie about that. It is not as spicy. Meaning I'm not getting a lot of the nutmeg and cinnamon that I'm used to in this. It's very malty and very caramelly. I'm okay with it. I liked the 2018 version better. But, that's kind of like saying I like a free Ferrari better than a free Prius. I'll take either, but if you're giving me a choice, that's where I'm going. All right, so take a sip of this thing and let me know what you think.
All right, let's see what we got here. Wow. Okay, it's very citrusy on the nose.
Mm-hmm.
You can't see through it. There's very little light penetration.
Yep, I wouldn't call it dank, but it's close.
It's close. It's borderline.
Mm-hmm.
It's very juicy on the back end. It doesn't hit you in the front, but now I do feel the juiciness coming out of the hops.
Yep, you get juice.
It's rather delayed.
You get juice. Then you get traditional IPA hop bitterness. Then you get another juice. That's how I perceived it. It wasn't my favorite. I felt like the juice was too uneven on it. But, hey, to each his own. It's always good to try a new IPA, particularly with the New Englands. I'm a big fan of New England IPAs.
Oh, me too.
And the dank ones. I know everyone's like, oh, my God, I'm so sick of dank IPAs. Great. That's how I feel about sours. Good for you. Everyone has to have their
Hey, do you know
preference.
their the Synopsis Dark Cherry Sour that I haven't tried yet keeps winning awards?
Does it? I've had it. I believe my wife liked it. I was not a fan because I'm just not a sour fan. But so Holiday Ale is very good this year. Craig is trying the Con Artist. So really quick before we get into burning hot takes, have you tried any of the other beers I brought you? Because I brought you a nice selection of stuff.
I tried the River.
The River Trip from Allagash.
From Allagash.
Thank you again to them for the bottle of Touration Pommoir, I believe it was called, that they gave us last week. That was very tasty and it was different. It was nice to try. River Trip was very smooth. It reminded me of a session in that it was a little hoppy, but not really. And it kind of felt like this is what guys who master Belgians come up with when they try to brew an IPA.
Right.
So not bad at all. I would drink it again in a heartbeat. I would drink it again in a heartbeat.
It was good. I haven't had the Treehouse yet because my nephew, God bless his soul, he bought me three.
Is he dead?
No.
Oh.
He bought me 3 4-packs of beer for my birthday.
What did he get you? Anything of note?
He got me Lawson's Sip of Sunshine.
Awesome. Always a good call.
He got me Bad Son's Little Loopy.
Oh, so the lupified session version. Okay.
Yep. And another Lawson's I haven't tried yet called Hopzilla.
I haven't seen that.
We'll try that next week.
Excellent. I'll look forward to stealing a little bit of that. I'm a relatively big fan of the Lawson stuff. So, but anyway, enough about the beer.
Yes.
We'll continue to drink, but let's talk some football. We've got burning hot takes. Are you giving or receiving? It's your birthday, so happy birthday to Craig.
Thank you.
This week. We went and celebrated on Sunday in the only way that you should celebrate getting old like us, at IHOP.
That's right.
Eating pancakes.
Because usually around the time of my birthday is when the clocks change. So
and it was the exact day this year.
This year was the exact day.
Or one day off, yeah.
That is the best time to go to IHOP because people are still asleep.
Yep.
So
we walked in the door at 8 o'clock and got sat immediately. By the time we left at like 8:45, there was a 20 to 30 minute wait.
Yep.
Easy. So.
And I walked out and this woman said, "Oh, I thought 9 o'clock would be early enough." No. No.
And there's only one IHOP in our area, which is part of the thing. So, all right. So are you giving or receiving?
I'll receive since it's my birthday week.
Absolutely. Well, we've got a couple of things. First off, we got a text or a tweet as a bunch of our fellow podcasters were included on this tweet. A user named Jim wants to know.
Hi, Jim.
What we would recommend for his running back matchups in Week 10.
Okay.
He's got Ingram.
All right.
Marlon Mack.
Yep.
Melvin Gordon.
Mm-hmm.
And Austin Eckler.
Yo.
He needs 2. So the 2 running backs in San Diego, Gordon and Eckler, Mack or Ingram, pick 2. What do you got?
All right. Who are the Colts playing?
Hold on.
They're playing the Dolphins.
Who are the Ravens playing?
The Bengals.
I think they have
There's your answer.
They're both good matchups. You're going Mack and Ingram?
Mack and Ingram. My problem with San Diego is they're playing Thursday. The Chargers defense or the Raiders defense isn't horrid. The Raiders are actually better than I thought they would be this year.
I don't know about their defense, though.
Well, generally speaking. But the issue is Eckler and Gordon, they're taking carries away from each other. And the Chargers, they're not what they were last year, always using Gordon. Now it's running back by committee.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really know who's going to get the ball where and when.
Okay.
If you look at the matchups, my Bengals defense is horrible, and so is Miami's.
Okay, so I want to just give you the lowdown on the Raiders. I'm looking at DraftKings right now.
All right.
Going backwards in time.
Okay.
The Raiders defense, 6 points, 3 points, -3, bye week, 8, 10, -1, 3, 4. The only time they've been in double digits all year is week 4 at Indy. So I don't know, man. I'm a little wary there of going up of saying that the Raiders defense isn't bad. And the Chargers have been getting it done. And Melvin Gordon's workload has been insane. So I went with Gordon and Ingram because I really love what Mark Ingram's probably going to do to your Bengals. I'm sorry.
No, I know. I'm totally aware.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not telling you anything you don't already know. So I kind of like that one too. And we'll talk a little bit about those matchups when we get into the over-unders in America's favorite game. But that's, when you're looking at those 4 guys, you're kind of in a no-lose situation given this week. None of them have a bad matchup.
If I had to go between Eckler and Gordon, I'd probably lean towards Gordon, but it's like 60-40. I don't know who I'd really. If I had to definitely pick one, I'd probably pick Gordon, but it's close.
And that's the thing. They've been running Gordon into the ground, like literally. It's almost like when he finally showed up, they're like, "You want out of San Diego? Fine. We are going to feed you the ball so much this year that you're either going to break down or impress the crap out of somebody else so we can trade you."
Probably.
One way, that's probably. I mean, literally, that's what it feels like when I watch Melvin Gordon. Melvin Gordon's been kind of like, "That's exactly what I want. I want 1,000 carries this season, even though I only played like 8 games. I want 1,000 carries so that I can impress somebody and I can end up on a better team." That's the feeling I got. So, really quick before we go to your question, have you heard the rumor about the Chargers going to London?
No.
The latest relocation rumor, because every year somebody's going to London. The Jaguars were going for the longest time, or Canada, yeah. Now it's the Chargers. The Chargers, they want to move the Chargers to London, and their thought is they're going to do 4-week stints. So the Chargers will spend 4 weeks home and 4 weeks away to limit the overseas flying. What do you think about that?
Wait, say that last part again?
So instead of like a random schedule where you're some weeks at home and some weeks away,
right?
You'd be home weeks 1 through 4, away weeks 5 through 8.
And then back.
And then like an off week, then you'd be home for 4 more and then finish the season on the road so that the Chargers could conceivably spend a month at a time in either Europe or America, and it wouldn't be flying back and forth constantly.
Just because of the time difference, you would have to do that. Well,
that's why, and that's always been the argument against putting a team, a regular team in there, and why they rotate teams so much. But you sold so many Jaguar jerseys over there the last couple of years. It's a shame to not move them. But all right, on to your question. What do you got for me tonight?
For you tonight, my question revolves around quarterbacks.
Okay.
So the past couple of weeks, we've had some changing of the guard at quarterback.
Oh yeah, due to injury or bad performance.
Yeah. So like Ryan Tannehill, Ryan Finley, Mason Rudolph.
We just found out that Gardner Minshew is not going to start because Nick Foles is back.
Right. Cam Newton probably not coming back.
Say the name. I know you want to say it. Say it.
No, you're the voice.
Fitzmagic. No, that's not even it. That's not even it. By the way, I am not in the Blake Bortles Memorial Studio tonight. I am on vacation.
No.
And that is simply just out of laziness on my part. It's been a busy week at work, and I finally was just like, "Craig, can I just Skype in tonight?" And he was like, "Yeah, I don't care." So
Daniel Jones. So out of all these teams making quarterback changes, which team do you think it's the biggest impact for?
Are we talking this season or long term? Because that's kind of a different question.
Well,
okay, so
long term.
And this is the discussion we had on Sunday. It's Ryan Finley, because this is the Bengals are either going to sit there and discover that they've got fool's gold in this kid, or he's going to tank and they're going to get a 1 pick and they're going to get the quarterback that they want out of the draft. So either way, it's win-win as far as the Browns are concerned.
Bengals.
Bengals. Sorry, the Browns. The Browns never have a win-win. The Bengals, it's going to be a win-win as far as the Bengals are concerned. So for long term, I like the Finley move because Dalton has been inconsistent. I mean, Marvin loved him, which is why he got so much play time, and he's been brilliant in moments, but he's never been able to string those moments together.
True.
Now, again, I'm not completely blaming Andy Dalton. It's a team with a lot of openings. It's got a lot of stuff it's got to fill. There's a lot of issues there. But I think that I'm hoping Ryan Finley comes out there and they are at least 500 the rest of the season so that they can draft offensive linemen next year instead of focusing on that. So that's where I'm at.
It didn't help their number 1 draft pick miss the season. So
in the short term, I'm going to go with Daniel Jones because I think they needed to Peyton Manning him. People forget Peyton Manning won, I think, 3 or 4 games his rookie year as a Colt, and the rest of his career not so shabby. So I think they need to kind of give him that treatment, and I think that Eli can be a big benefit for him. I hope to God, and I really think this is the kind of guy that Eli Manning is. I think Eli Manning is mentoring him and is trying to help him. I don't think he's sabotaging him because there are quarterbacks out there, cough, New England, where the quarterback doesn't feel secure in their job and they sabotage people. I refer you to Gridiron Heights after week 8. You know, I mean, I'm not going to rag on Tom Brady. We have too many friends who are Patriot fans. But is it irony, or is it just the way it is that the two guys, and I understand Brissett just got hurt, but the two guys that got traded out from underneath Brady, just because Brady kept saying, I'm going to play until I die, are both having exceptional seasons.
Yeah, especially Garoppolo.
They are the last undefeated team. Did you ever think, in all the bold predictions we made this year, did you ever think we'd be sitting at week 10 saying the San Francisco 49ers are the only undefeated team?
Not at all.
If I honestly, without going through the list.
I wonder what the prop bet was for that, the odds on it.
Oh, it would have been, it's got to be at least 100 to 1. So let me ask this. Without going through a list of names, how far, if I said to you, if I came back in time and I said, Craig, I'm from the future, and one team is still undefeated in week 10, name them. How many teams do you think you would have thrown out before you got to the 49ers?
At least 12.
I'm saying 10 to 15. I'm saying at least 15 teams. I would have been to the point where it would have been like, I don't know, the Niners? I've run out of everybody else. You know, there's no way we could have predicted this. And for the folks who did, God bless you. So what about you? What are your thoughts on the quarterback changes?
For me, short term, I don't know. I think besides Finley, but Ryan Tannehill, he may have just found his second act.
I don't know.
Mariota may be on his way out.
Oh, Mariota's on his way out. No question.
But I think the biggest long-term thing, it would be Cam Newton. Cam Newton is no longer going to be a Panther, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't foresee him coming back next year as a Panther.
Maybe he'll be a Bear.
And Sean both loves and hates that. Sean hates that that's an option. For those of you who don't know, our occasional contributor, Sean, who does help us a lot during the preseason,
is a
big Bear fan. He loves the idea that Mitchell Trubisky could be the next Jim McMahon. He hates that he's not right off the bat. So, no, I think that's really, really telling. I mean, we're looking at a situation where Mitchell Trubisky may not be there for long.
No. Especially after the last couple of games.
And the worst part is the job of Sam Darnold is probably safe. And one of the debates I heard on the radio today is who's worse, Trubisky or Darnold? It's actually a question. And I think Sam Darnold is the measuring stick between, okay, you're redeemable, and oh my God, what happened here? And if people are saying you're worse than Darnold, then you have a problem. So, and before we get to the last question, my God, Adam Gase, how is he still employed? And has the man slept?
No, not at all.
The quarterback whisperer is doing a crap-ass job in Jersey. I don't think he survives this year. I definitely don't see him coaching in 2020 on the Jets sideline.
The Jets, I don't know what happened this year because there was that also weirdly weird thing they had going on with their linemen. Did you hear about that?
Remind me.
This lineman had shoulder issues. He went to preseason with this issue. Okay. He thought he could work through it. Got worse. Can't play. Right?
Mm-hmm. Is it offensive line?
Defense, I think.
Defensive line. Okay, sorry.
So he goes, gets an MRI. He has a tear in his shoulder or his chest, so he needs surgery.
Mm-hmm.
The team is like, why don't you just play through it? And he's like, no. And then what happened was the team, where they were supposed to send like doctors like MRI scans and whatnot,
right?
They actually sent them blank scans.
And they kept like showed nothing.
Yeah, right. Like, and they kept just like delaying it.
Scans. Just nothing,
like a blank sheet.
It would be like when I run the metric if I just sent you a blank workbook.
Right, you just sent me in a blank Excel sheet and be like, what am I supposed to do?
Wow.
And then they cut him. He had surgery because he was like, fuck this.
Mm-hmm.
And then they cut him, it's just weird. So I don't know what the hell is going on.
Thank God that Cleveland Browns are the mess they are. so that we don't focus on the ineptitude of the New York Jets front office.
That's
Robbie
true.
Anderson doesn't get traded at the trade deadline.
They
What are
definitely
you
should have.
holding on to him for? What?
I don't know. You could have traded him to New England. Who cares? Just get
You're
something.
not going anywhere this year. Quincy Enunwa is dead,
That poor guy, man. He's been injured since he got drafted.
and he hasn't even been on the cover of Madden. So, all right.
No, but
so
Sean probably thought about drafting him.
Quick side story.
Yeah.
I was with Sean this morning. I happen to have Sean and I both work for the same company during the day, and I was with him when that picture of the black cat on the Madden cover came in.
Yep.
Somebody superimposed, for those who are listening, the black cat that was running in the Giants game onto a Madden cover, and he saw it and he started to laugh and he turned his phone towards me and I went, "You've got to put that in the podcasting discussion. They all need to see this." And the moment he sent it, I said, "Craig is going to lose his shit." And 30 seconds afterwards, Craig is like, "This doesn't excuse the thousands of people who have gotten hurt because they're on your roster, Craig." Or Sean. And I'm just like, oh my God, that is too funny, because there's no one who buys into the Madden curse more than Craig.
That's true. And Sean's
just
the worst.
Yeah, everyone Sean drafts seems to die except the really good guy. Like, Dalvin Cook has been injured every year he's ever played football since he was 8, except the year Sean drafts him.
The year's not over yet.
That's true. Knock on wood. I don't want to see Dalvin Cook hurt because he's been good. So, all right, final question really quick.
Yeah.
I'm going to move on this one really quick.
Yep.
Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
The eternal
Okay.
saga that is Antonio Brown. A gentleman named Chris Mitchell writes to him this morning, "So what's the deal? Why the hell are you not playing?" on Twitter.
Okay.
And AB responds, "Ask the @NFL." So he tags the NFL in.
Okay.
Before I tell you about the responses, what's your initial reaction to that? So what's the deal? Why the hell are you not playing? Ask the NFL. What's your response?
That's Antonio Brown being Antonio Brown and wanting attention.
The internet was not kind, Craig.
No?
Not kind at all. The most liked response was, "Bro, you retired. You literally tweeted it 5 weeks ago." Somebody, excuse me, sorry, I'm choking on my own words here because I'm trying not to laugh at this. But somebody literally put in an ad selling pictures of him as a clown on Raiders t-shirts. One guy actually came to his defense and said, "It's Kaepernick all over again." To which somebody wrote, "I don't believe Kaepernick sexually assaulted 2 contractors."
That's not funny, but
That's the thing. It's not funny, but it's hysterical because he keeps inviting this criticism. And I'm reading this string, and I'm like, and that's the thing. It's like laughing at something terrible. You know what I mean? I'm trying to think of a good example of it. It's like laughing at a horror movie when the bad guy dies. Well, somebody just died, dude. I mean, death is never funny, you know. But it's that guilty kind of like, oh my God, what is this train wreck I'm watching unfold in front of me?
Unreal. Absolutely unreal.
And our buddy, by the way, one of one of the guys that we are friends with on Twitter and has interacted with us a lot, I believe it's Everyday Football, who's a huge Steelers fan, took a look at their schedule. I remember I said the Steelers schedule is really kind of complimentary.
Yeah.
He thinks they're going to run the table and make the playoffs. And I was just like, dude, 5-3 at best. Your quarterback is dead.
Both of them.
Connor's on the injury report. Jalen Samuels is hit or miss. And Benny Snell has moved to Ohio to get away from this team. He's hurt as well. I believe Snell's done for the year.
He had knee surgery.
We were so hopeful Benny Snell would be a breakout.
We were.
So, and we weren't wrong. He had a touchdown in week 1, and he had a couple of good opportunities when Connor got hurt. Your wide receiving core is terrible.
Yeah, where's Juju been?
He's still on the Steelers, and he's still playing. He's just not doing anything. The Steelers are so bad that nobody even noticed they cut Dante Moncrief a week ago.
They did?
Yes. He signed somewhere else. Where did he sign? I'm trying to hold on.
Ask the internet.
But
the
yes,
answer
they
is
cut Dante Moncrief. And when you're cutting Dante Moncrief because you're terrible, you know, that's NFC, but the Panthers. Moncrief to the Panthers. How much do you want to bet he takes 1 week to acclimate, and in week 11 he's in the metric? How much do you want to bet?
I'll bet you a beer.
Because Curtis Samuel and DJ Moore are decent. But I can't believe it. I'm like, really? You guys are an active tire fire, and you can't find a way to use Dante Moncrief. And I don't believe Dante Moncrief was cut because he's a bad performer. I don't think they understand how to use him. I really don't.
No, just like the Browns can't use Odell. They just don't
Oh,
understand him.
We could spend the rest of this podcast talking about the tire fire that is the Cleveland Browns. But I don't want any more victory laps out of you because every day I get another text about somebody else saying the Browns are terrible, and Craig just sends the report with a smiley face. And we all know, yes, Craig was right.
It's not my fault that a sports writer apologized to the internet for saying they were wrong about the Browns.
You have to share it, though, every day?
Yes, till week 16.
And we did Burning Hot Take questions, and we're 30 minutes into this podcast, and we haven't even talked about the Whitehead incident.
No.
That dude openly threatened to kill people because he was criticized on Twitter.
Yes. And he gave them the Browns stadium address.
He said, come find me. Here's where I'm at, and gave the stadium address. Seriously?
He said he was joking.
Yeah, and then did you see his post on Instagram when he was like, they tell you to take the high road, but they don't know? I'm like, no, they do know. Every coach, every player. And by the way, here's a breaking news story. Most of the coaches used to be players. They all have been in this situation. Not maybe in the social media era, but they've all been in a situation where people have been in their face and asking stupid questions. This is part of the job. And by flaming out that way, who the hell – did anyone pick him up?
I don't think so. Not yet, anyway.
I don't think he's been picked up. I apologize. I'm checking the news stories. Nope. All I've got is 12 hours ago and 1 day ago he apologized. Apologized. Yeah. No. Good luck. I hope you find a team in 2020 and keep your socks on.
Whoa.
Well, it's Marcus Peters.
I know.
We'll have to, now that we have the Blake Bortles Memorial Studio, we'll have to have the Marcus Peters Memorial Meltdown Award. So,
and speaking of critics, Trubisky wants the facility TVs off so they don't hear about critics and the Bears.
It's Chicago. You can hear them outside. If you turn off the TV, you're just going to hear the unfiltered ones outside the window going, y'all suck. Bring back Ditka. That's all you're going to hear.
Pretty much.
That's all you're going to hear. Sad to hear, by the way, that Mike Ditka's going completely insane in his later years. He's a big Trump supporter, so very sad. Very sad. Okay, America's favorite game. Let's move on.
There we go.
There's no lows this week.
No?
The lowest total on the slate is Bills at Browns at 40. Bills at Browns, 40 points. What do you got?
Hold on. Let me pull up the schedule. Damn it.
6-2 Bills at the 2-6 Browns with a 40 over-under. Would you bet the over or would you bet the under?
I'm going to bet the under.
I would bet the under there too, which means the only thing they're usable for is defense. And I would fire up the Bills' defense this week if you can afford them. I believe they're relatively expensive on DraftKings. Hold on, I'm looking. The Bills' defense is somewhere on this list. There they are. They're $2,900, which I think is
bad.
It's the second most expensive or third most expensive of the week. They're in the top 5 defenses in terms of cost. So it's a good matchup for them defensively, but it's expensive. So, all right, so you get 3 strikes. There's only 2 answers on the board.
Okay.
50 plus 2 games, go.
Falcons Saints.
That's the first one. That's a 51 over under.
All
51.
Right.
New Orleans at home. I'm thinking the over. I'm thinking that game could be 45-35 pretty easily.
Yeah, that could happen. I could see that.
So I'm thinking the over there. I mean, the Falcons
is Matt Ryan playing?
Matt Ryan is practicing. I did not see today's practice reports, but Matt Ryan is expected to play last I had heard. Yes, they were back at practice today. He was limited, but he was there.
All right. Next game, let's go with these almost sort of obvious Chiefs-Titans.
Strike one. That's a 48.5. That's okay. The Titans' offense is so inept that Vegas doesn't even think they can score on the Chiefs. And
I
Matt
think
Moore.
my cats can score on the Chiefs.
And keep in mind, this line was set when we still thought Matt Moore was going to start. I did see the practice report for the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes did practice full today. So tomorrow, Thursday, is huge. If he is not limited tomorrow, he is probably a full go for the weekend. I think this is going to be one of those things. They ran him out there today because he was like, yep, I feel fantastic. And tomorrow he either walks into the locker room and he's ready to go, or he walks into the locker room and his knee is the size of Cleveland, and they're like, nope, back to the bench with you. Get Matt Moore in there for first team reps. But I'm telling you right now, I like the Chiefs in this game regardless. I think if you put Matt Moore in against the Titan defense is good against the run, but the Chiefs don't run.
No, they don't. I mean,
So-
they have running backs.
They have 17 of them. And 3 of them have the same name. I mean, they're all named Williams. So, I mean, I'm going to look at the over there, but depending on who the personnel is, it'll depend on whether or not I use them. But no, that is not a correct answer. So that is strike 1. There is still one team out there with a 50-plus over-under, and you have 2
Ooh.
strikes to tell me who it is.
Chargers, Raiders.
Strike 2. Now, that's shocking to me. That game's a 49, so you were close.
Close.
You were close. I think that game is going to be a shootout. I would take the over in that game, too.
All right.
Absolutely take the over in that game.
Let's go Panthers, Packers.
Strike 3.
Sad.
He strikes out. That's a 47. I think people were a little well, the big thing is that Green Bay either gives up 1,000 yards on the ground or 2. And
True.
The question is, what is McCaffrey going to do there, I think. And the whole Allen thing. The correct answer, believe it or not, was Cardinals at Bucks.
Stop it.
That's here 2 teams that can't stop the pass. Neither one of them can stop the pass.
Yeah,
and
but which Mike Evans is going to show up?
Does it matter? They may ignore Mike Evans. Every week, the passing game plan for the Buccaneers is I think they pick they get all the wide receivers together, and they do ping pong balls like the NBA lottery. And there's 10 Mike Evans balls, and there's 9 Chris Godwin balls, and down the line they go. And whatever ball goes out there, they're like, yep, that's who James is going to look at this week. And everybody else is like, oh, man, you can't predict where it's going to be. You can't. It's been Evans the last 2 weeks. This game smells like a Godwin shift. It smells like a Godwin shift. I don't know if it is, but it sure smells like it. So there's the 2 games that Vegas says you should target. They want you in the Atlanta-New Orleans game, and they want you in the the Cardinals and the Bucks. So that brings us to the metric.
Dun, dun, dun.
Week 9. I don't know about you, but I doubled up week 9 easy. Our picks were fantastic week 9. The day after we released, I heard a guy from Roto Grinders, who I will not name on the air because I'm taking a victory lap at his
There
expense.
you go. Go ahead.
Who told me there is never a situation in which you use Melvin Gordon. Never.
What?
He was like, he's not that good. Eckler's right behind him. It's a timeshare. Melvin Gordon lit up the world last week. I think he was at 6x. A lot of our guys went really crazy. Craig, so we got to tell him the Sunday morning story. So
Yeah,
we're
go
waiting
ahead.
for pancakes.
Yes.
And Craig says to me, I want to put together a lineup based strictly off the metric. No input from us whatsoever.
Right.
So I pull out my phone and I open up the metric on my phone. And Craig goes, just read me off value picks at all the basic positions.
Yep. We just
So I did.
skipped over injured people.
That's it. If they were a questionable tag, we skipped them. We filled the entire lineup. We got to flex. We still had almost $11,000 left
Yes.
by using all value picks. So we plugged Christian McCaffrey in there. We still would have cashed if we had used pretty much any other running back other than Dalvin Cook or Aaron Jones. We would have cashed in that spot. What did it score? 180 points?
It was 190?
190.
189? Yeah.
That's borderline tournament play. I always say 150 is the minimum for you to consider cashing. And pay lines were up this week, by the way.
They were.
Pay lines at DraftKings were about 157 to 160 for you to cash in, or 155 to 160, I should say. I had my worst lineup came in at 147, and it missed the cash line by at least 10 points. And 147 was good enough to cash in week 8 and week 7. So it was. So Craig's texting me, and he's like, the point just keeps going up. 176, 180, 185. And I'm like, we should have thrown this into a quarter tournament. We could have made another $10. We should have thrown this into a daily dollar. We could have made another
Yeah,
$100. But
maybe this week.
that's the thing. So this week there are people that the metric absolutely loves. Now, value-wise, there is very little at wide receiver. There are a lot of people the metric loves, but nobody is projecting at 3x. So this may be the week where you spend up at wideout. But let's start with the quarterbacks.
Okay.
The metric's favorite son is the returning Drew Brees. It thinks he's going to go for about 25 points. I haven't seen anything from Atlanta that says differently. Desmond Trufant will be back, but that might just increase Drew Brees' production right now because they are that inept. The next name down the list, which he also loves, is Lamar Jackson. The difference is Lamar Jackson is going to cost you $600 more. So, and Lamar Jackson is probably right now, and that does not mean he's a must-play every week in DFS, but he's probably the safest quarterback play in DFS right now because he runs, he throws, he's getting it all done, and he's been in value pretty consistently throughout the season. So I'm using Breeze, and if I have money left over, I might upgrade to Jackson. Craig, who do you got?
Same thing. I've always been a Breeze fan, and this week he is playing Atlanta. And if you look at him last week, it doesn't look like his hand is really bothering him. And Lamar Jackson is playing the Bengals. So
this is all about matchups this week.
Granted, it's a division game, so you never know, but still.
That can apply to both of those.
That's true.
Both those. And like the next name down the list is Aaron Rodgers, but the metric likes it and doesn't love it. And I think that's largely based on a lot of the experts are going with the theory that Rodgers rarely has two bad games in a row. I can't. So the next name that the metric loves is Phillip Rivers.
It's a Thursday game.
A, it's Thursday. B, it's Oakland, which is divisional. Well, then tell me somebody else that it loves that. Well, Matt Ryan. But again, divisional game. The next name down the list it loves is Ryan Finley because he's cheap. So
he's
all the
4,800.
All the guys the metric loves this week are in divisional matchups. So unless you want to take a flyer on Ryan Tannehill against the Chiefs at 5,100, which I won't do, I will take Drew Brees and sleep like a baby before I touch Tannehill. That's where I would go. I'm going to go Drew Brees this week unless I have money left over, in which case I'll upgrade to Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, because even Russell Wilson is in a division game.
Yeah.
So really, if you want non-division games, you're looking at Rodgers or Tannehill.
Yeah. Or if Patrick Mahomes comes back, but who knows what they're going to get on Mahomes, and they priced him up because he might play. He's probably not going to be value this week. So, in running backs, the metric loves Melvin Gordon. Problem, Melvin Gordon plays on Thursday. So, and he was right. The metric was right about Melvin Gordon last week. They were absolutely right, and it's got him pegged for 3x again this week. But it's Thursday. If you're the next name it loves is Josh Jacobs. Problem, Thursday.
Division.
And division. The division thing's going to pop up all over the place here, so I'm not even worried about it, to be honest with you. But the next name down the list that it's got, and this is the only other guy it's got at value, is Ronald Jones. It looks like they're done with Barber with the Bucks, and Arizona can't play defense. But it's not super confident. It's giving me a like rating, not a love rating. So I'm going to be hesitant to use Ronald Jones, but Ronald Jones at 4,300 is not a terrible pick. I'm also kind of liking David Montgomery because he's had a couple good games in a row, but I don't see him getting to value. He needs to get to 16 points. I don't see him getting to 16 points, so I'm not real strong on him. And Christian McCaffrey's value is up again. He's now 10,500.
Is McCaffrey, even though he's that expensive, is McCaffrey a must-use for you every week?
No, because he's too expensive. McCaffrey is going to be a lineup maker or a lineup killer every week with that price tag. He has to get to 31 points for that to be valuable. Or I have to use extreme value at every other place. And if he gets to 28, I can use him, but he's not going to make the value line. It's a no-win situation. If you don't use McCaffrey and he goes off like he did last week, and the pools I was in, his ownership was around 80%. 80%. if you didn't use him, you didn't cash. 80% of the people who are using this guy, it matters. But if you did use him and he snaps his leg in the second quarter, now it doesn't make a difference if you started me. You're probably going to cash because you didn't have any money to get any other decent players. You banked on McCaffrey and went value across the board. We barely fit in McCaffrey. Less than $1,000 we had left by using all value last week.
True.
It was not. It was close. It was not easy to use McCaffrey in a lineup where we were comfortable, but we did it. I'll use him if I can. I'm not going to bend over backwards to use him. I'm not. I'd rather use, if I'm doing a Thursday pool, I'd rather use Melvin Gordon and Josh Jacobs. If I'm not doing a Thursday pool, I'm looking at David Montgomery and I'm trying to save money in other places. Maybe I can come back and use McCaffrey. What do you think?
Yeah, again, like you said, McCaffrey is very expensive. Even he's kind of expensive, but I do like the idea of playing Barkley against the Jets. If you're looking at matchups.
8,800. Barkley is 8,800. So,
and maybe Derrick Henry against Kansas City.
Yeah, that's not insane either. Kansas City was very good against the run a couple weeks ago. They were semi-decent against the run last week, but this defense can't keep it up consistently. I have no faith in it. Saquon's 8,800. Can you get 26 points out of Saquon against the Jets?
Maybe. Probably.
I think they're going to lean on him, and the Jets defense isn't great to stop him. The metric does not have him in even the light category, but I do have him at 22 points. It's just his price tag is still continually very high, and that's the problem. I mean, the only people more expensive than him are Cook, Zeke, and McCaffrey. What about Zeke this week? I mean, again, these are all guys who are going to get you 20 points. What you need is somebody who's going to get you 19 to 20 points who's not going to cost you $9K, and that's the problem. We're not seeing that guy on the board right now. So I don't know who it is. Honestly, don't know who it is. It can't be Le'Veon Bell.
No. Who's actually injured. He didn't practice.
I mean, you want a deep sleeper?
Sure.
Joe Mixon.
Here you go.
4,700.
You never know.
It's a deep sleeper. He's going to be low owned. Baltimore is typically better against the run than most people think. It's a deep sleeper, but it's worth a look. Chris Carson, same thing, except it's at San Francisco. San Francisco's defense is epically good. It's a bad week to make decisions about running backs. I don't know what I'm going to have to do is do my running backs last. There's just no other way to do it. I'm going to have to build the lineup around value everywhere else and see where I can go. So if you're looking for value, welcome to Britt's wide receiver value mode, where if you're playing the full weekend slate, we have Mike Williams at 4,500. We have Keenan Allen at 6,100. Not playing that slate? Okay. Michael Thomas at 8,300. Drew Brees is back. That means 9 targets easy.
At least.
At 9 targets.
At least.
He's 8,300. His catch rate is like 75%. So you're talking 7 catches for probably about 75, 80 yards. If he gets in the end zone on one of those, he's in value, but it's going to be tough. You're looking extreme value. You want to go really cheap. Demaryius Thomas is taking over. The Jets are probably going to have to throw, air quotes, probably, because the Giants aren't exactly burning down the world. The metric does think this is going to be a Chris Godwin week. Does think it's going to be Chris Godwin, but it also has Mike Evans only a point behind. So
the quandary that is Mike Evans.
Yes. Here's what I'm going to say. What I'm probably going to do is I'm going to use Michael Thomas because as long as Brees is in there, he's pretty much a must-use. I'm going to use Demaryius Thomas. I'm going to roll the dice again on Curtis Samuel. I've used Curtis Samuel 3 times this year. He's come through twice. I'm going to roll the dice. But he was good last week, and we all know the rule. Never bet on one good week. Get a couple in a row. But I'm going to roll the dice. I'll probably stack my lineup with Thomas, and Samuel. It sounds like a law firm. But then right there, that's going to be about $16,000, where I normally would spend about $20. That's going to free up or maybe $18. It's going to free up $2,000 to $4,000 worth of salary for me to be able to use potentially McCaffrey.
Or even if you want to go even deeper, if you're playing Thursday, Hunter Renfrow is 3,700.
Hunter Renfrow last week, what did he do? I got to look it up.
All right,
He was
look it up.
so close to value, and I used him because Detroit has been abysmal against the pass all year, and I used him in a pool. And I got to look up and see, do I have him in a lineup this week already? I started putting together some lineups. I do have a Thursday night lineup. I'm not using him
The
this.
answer is
Not using him this week. That's the answer. The answer is I'm not using him. So sorry. Hold on a second. I'll do a search for him. Renfro. There he is. Last week 17.4 points. The week before that 18.8.
and he's only 3,700.
He's 5,000. What? 3,700?
Yeah. Did it change?
Oh no. Sorry. I'm looking in the captain's lineup.
Oh.
I'm looking at the Thursday night only. I did a captain's lineup. Spoiler: Mike Williams is my captain. But yes, and those numbers are different. The captain lineups are completely different numbers because it's a limited pool, so that's why he's more expensive there. But yeah, 3,700 means you need to get 11 points out of him. He's gotten 17 or better the last 2
definitely do that.
He could against the Chargers defense that they're probably going to have to throw on. I don't know. I think he's usable. But I'm telling you, and that's why I put together a Thursday night captain's lineup. All the great picks that I want to use are playing on Thursday. They really are.
Thursday only lineups.
I'm using captain's lineup for Thursday. The matchup game is too good. It's too good a game. I've got both of the receivers from the Chargers in my value picks. You just brought up Hunter Renfrow, who's a great value pick. We talked about Phillip Rivers in the beginning and Melvin Gordon. There's enough people to put together a captain's lineup. So, all right, let's move on because we're running out of time. Tight ends, I hate them all. The metric likes Jonnu Smith. I'm still not even sure who Jonnu Smith is or that I'm saying his name right. So I said, give me another name, and the metric said Greg Olson, and I threw my computer out.
Cam Newton gone.
He's so inconsistent. It's a bigger dice roll than Curtis Samuel. So I said, all right, who's your top love pick? And it said Mike Gesicki because he's only 3,100. Not because he's going to have a good game, but because he's super cheap. So I don't know what to tell you. Use somebody at tight end. Jonnu Smith is probably – Jack Doyle's a little bit of a safer –
TJ Hawkinson has been very sad for me this year after that first amazing game, and then it just all went downhill. I know he got hurt.
Yeah, but if you want to reach a little deeper, Irv Smith Jr. in Minnesota, although all of a sudden since Irv has been catching balls, all of a sudden Kyle Rudolph has been coming on. You got Eric Ebron, but if you're using Eric Ebron, what are you doing about Jack Doyle? And we don't know who's going to get the ball there because Brad Hoyer doesn't know anything.
Looking at matchup, Mark Andrews is playing the Bengals.
Yeah, but he's expensive, isn't he?
52.
See, that's expensive. If you're giving up on the dream of drafting McCaffrey, you can do that. But if you're going to try and sneak McCaffrey into your lineup, or even one of the other guys, if you're trying to sleep Zeke, Cook, or Barkley into your lineup, that's going to be difficult to do. I'm telling you guys, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to go do quarterback, wideouts, and tight end, and do people that are cheaper and you're comfortable with, and then go do running backs. It's the only way to build a lineup this week, because if you could, I mean, or you could do it exactly the opposite. You could sit there and say, I'm going to use McCaffrey and a value play, and I'm going to find a way to make the other slots work. In which case, you're trying to cram the peg through the hole. It's going to be tough. Either way, it's not an easy week to set up lineups. So tight end, I don't know what to tell you. Use Mike Gesicki. I don't know. Defense, this one's easy for me. The metric loves the Browns. It's the lowest scoring total of the week. Buffalo at Cleveland. Buffalo's offense is better than Cleveland, but Cleveland's defense is not a complete pushover. The Browns' defense is only 2,500, which means all they need is 7 or 8 points, and they're at the value line. Last week, I told you all to use the Steelers, and God damn it if I wasn't right.
He was.
Let me tell you, I listened to 3 different podcasts and 3 different reports afterwards, and one of the guys on Sirius was like, and so, we close every Sunday with the perfect lineup, and we're going to start by saying we're shocked the Steelers were the pick for the perfect lineup.
Yeah,
Nobody saw that coming, and I seriously reached for my phone. And I'm like, no, motherfucker, I saw that coming. I was absolutely
and those people get paid.
Those people get paid to do this. They were wrong about
God damn it.
Mel Gordon, and they were wrong about the Steelers last week. Now, granted, I'm no angel. I'd lost 2 weeks in a row before this, but we cleaned up this week because we made the right calls. I'm gonna put my money on the Browns this week. I hate saying those words, but I'm gonna put my money on the Browns this week and sleep like a baby. Is there anybody else you're looking at that you're like, I trust this defense this week? That's a value.
Maybe the Giants against the Jets.
Giants defense just hasn't been really consistent. Where are they?
2,800.
So same sort of thing. But do you trust the Giants at 28 or the Browns at 25?
Yeah.
That's the
That's
problem.
a tough call.
That's the problem. I mean, the metric even wanted me to consider the Cardinals at 2,200, and I'm like, no,
No.
not a chance in hell. There's no way. There was even a point where the metric was like, the Falcons are only 1,500. And I'm like,
against the Saints.
New Orleans is going to put up 49 points at home, right?
By halftime.
With Drew Brees back, if Drew Brees isn't in that game as Teddy Bridgewater, I think about it, I still probably wouldn't do it. So the end result is this week is going to be really tough for lineup builds. I am going to focus on value at the core positions, mainly quarterback and wideout. I'm going to try to spend up at running back, but it's going to be tough. You're going to have to find a way to make it work, and there is not an easy way to make it work without using the Thursday games this week. I can tell you that right now.
Unless you do a Thursday-only game.
Unless you do a Thursday.
Now that we talked about it, I'm thinking about doing a Thursday-only lineup.
A captain's lineup?
Yeah.
Well, I gave you my captain pick. Mike Williams is my captain pick. He's 7,400 normally, which I think makes him 1,100. His worst game since their bye was 8 points against Tennessee. He had 17 last week. He had 10 against Chicago, 12.2 against Pittsburgh, 13.4 against Denver. They've been looking to him a lot more than one might think. And guess what? I just looked. Oakland is 32nd against the pass.
No.
So according to 297.5 passing yards per game, they are last in the league in passing in preventing the pass. Someone's going to catch the ball there.
Somebody has to.
Maybe it's Hunter Henry. Maybe I put the wrong person in the spot. But put a receiver in that spot. Maybe it's Austin Eckler. Maybe they rely on Eckler. I don't know. All I know is that I'm looking at that game as a definitely double up opportunity. So, all right, we're out of time.
We are.
Craig, final thought for me.
Final thoughts. It's November, and you know what? If you're in season long and your season's over at this point, try to make some trades. Get some picks for next year if your league allows you to do that.
Yes, absolutely. If you're in a keeper or a league or situation, or the guys are going to be back year to year, you should absolutely be looking at trading the picks right now. If you're in a position where you're 7-2 and you're looking down, you're like, damn, I've got a fine roster, except my tight end is Eric Ebron. And you look over and the guy who's got Kittle is 2-7 because Kittle's all he's got. Pick up the phone.
Yeah.
Pick up the phone. My final thought this week is just I'm going to be gone for about 2 weeks, right around Thanksgiving time. Craig will have a guest in the studio. I think I'm only missing one episode, but we're getting into the time of the year where the winter beers come out.
Yes.
It's bizarre. I was talking to my brother-in-law. We were in New York City on Saturday, and on the train, I'm talking to my brother-in-law, and he's like, I got to tell you about that too. We had a long conversation about beer, and there's something you need to know. But before I get to that, he's saying to me, I went to the package store because it's the end of October, beginning of November. I'm done with pumpkin beers. I want an Oktoberfest. I couldn't find anybody's Oktoberfest left.
No, because Oktoberfest is September.
Right. So I said to the guy at the counter, where's all the Oktoberfest? And he goes, oh, man, that stuff comes out in August.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's like, well, goddamn. He's like, so I'm drinking winter beer after Halloween. And it's like, it's crazy for him. So, but what I need to tell you is I found out that my brother-in-law frequently has to travel to Massachusetts for work, like 3 or 4 times a month. And that his office is not far from a certain brewery.
Oh.
That you can only get by going there.
Oh.
And he said he is going to be more than willing to make a run for us once in a while. So, even if it's just 2 or 3 times a season, it would be absolutely lovely So he might be the source part due.
I'm all for it.
Just saying. Yeah, he was like, I'll let you guys know when I'm up in that way. I don't go up there a lot, but I go up there once in a while. And I'm like, dude, you just send me the date. I will send you an order and I will Apple Pay you the money instantly.
There you go.
Make this happen. So speaking of making things happening, please leave us a review wherever you listen to us. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Player FM. Oh God, Stitcher. YouTube. Yes, we have a YouTube channel now. You can subscribe to us on YouTube. There's just so many places to grab us right now, and we're always looking to expand to new venues, and we're looking at a new one right now, actually. So can't announce it because it's not formalized yet, but
right.
There is another streaming service that is looking at potentially picking up our podcast. So we are keeping our fingers crossed on that. We will be back next week. Enjoy week 10. We're in the home stretch, folks. We are absolutely in the home stretch.
Man. Goes by quick.
Goes by quick. It's the longest 17 weeks of my life. I swear to God. Generating this metric is the longest 17 weeks of my life. But we love doing it, and we love bringing the podcast, and we thank you for joining us, especially Deb. Thank you, Deb.
Thanks, Deb. Hi, Deb.
Hi, Deb, and everybody who joins us every week. We will be back next week at our regular time. Until then, my name is Britt.
I'm Craig.
And we are the Football Fignuts Podcast. Take care, everybody.